Make our way over here, and it's stowed away right now, but here's the table saw with some rock maple on top of it. And it's actually not a table, it's a cooker with a piece of tabletop on top of it. We did some chicken wings in here the other night. Chicago Electric chop saw, miter saw, bandsaw in storage right now. Most everything in my shop goes into storage when it's not in use because I just don't have that much shop space. Something I'm looking to try to improve upon, just back behind there, the 12-inch portable Delta planer, thickness planer. Bicycles having nothing to do with shop work. That is a sanding beast right there. My Shop Fox drum sander has saved hours of sanding, particularly when making ingrain cutting boards. Woodworking tools, gardening tools, and of course every shop should have bullseye. All right, workbench. A couple of drills mostly for screws and the impact wrench, fire stuff. Various screws, my joiner plane. My other planes are up here, a couple of Stanleys, a few Stanleys, Harbor Freight. Actually, a couple of Harbor Freights. Anyway, stains, mineral spirits, sprays, mineral oil, glue, music, patriotism, some more finishing stuff up on top there. ESPN, full court. I used to work for Dish, so I got a few things like that. Also, let's see, up higher a little bit, yeah. Sugarland Skeeters. Used to do some announcing for them. We got the router, also Harbor Freight. I'm on a budget, so I can't afford all the really high dollar things. Down just below on the lower level of that shelf, though, various power tools, tool bag. Down below that, yard tools. Gasoline, jack. $30-year-old Sony boombox for playing the CDs. It's on pause right now, and it's actually hooked up to the iPod. Breathing equipment, hearing protection, and various and sundry clamps. And I got to come up with a better mechanism better method for storing my clamps, because this just is not an effective use of shelf space. But back behind the clamps, if you can tell, are my sharpening supplies. I got my soapy water and a number of the actual sharpening stones are back behind that sharpening station, which goes into my cabinet maker's vise. Up above, a number of different sundries, mostly corks that I use for making trevettes and bottle stoppers. I've got most of my measuring stuff in there, angles, tape measure just there on the bench. WD-40. Every shop has to have that. Chisels, gloves, knickknacks. That all could be arranged a little bit better. Smaller clamps are in that bin right there. Power 104. There's a cup holding various woodworking tools, and that cup that's got to be 30 years old. Back when I used to do some DJ work at 104 KRBE, and there's a lunch pail that's holding my Craig jig stuff, bits and whatnot. Got that when I used to do some public address announcing for the Houston Dynamo. There's my electronic calipers and a couple of toolboxes with various and sundry items in it. Tool bag, hammer collection, rags, and sanding mats. Polyurethane band there. That's actually a bandsaw belt that broke, and I've decided to keep it because I'm sure I can use it for something. But I show you all of that, and then of course in my last video you guys got to see the workbench, which is not very sexy. it's very large, and it is a beast, but dimensional lumber really is not the way to go unless you're going to buy 2x12s and then cut them down so that you can reduce them to quarter sawn lumber and get a little bit thicker than an inch to an inch and a half as far as thickness goes, because this is what happens. You saw in the last video, we were trying to flatten the top a little bit, and we planed into the very tip of a screw that was coming in from the underside, which is being used to hold the mechanized part of this cabinet maker's vise. And so gonna have to do some work on that plane, but a couple more clamps over here. So again, I need to come up with a better way to store my clamps, and I intend on doing that probably over here. Move that dust collection a little bit further back, and then I've got some wall space there that I think I'm going to use in order to store the clamps. Speaking of dust collection, about time to empty this 55-gallon drum out. There's only about 12 more inches of space in there. So we've got the dust collection, my lumber storage right there, which I think I need to improve upon as well, and then the benches that you just saw, chop saw, table saw, fridge, golf gear. But that wall over there where I've got a lot of scrap lumber really needs to be improved upon. I think that the ladder is going to wind up on the ceiling somewhere. Saw a really neat video from April Wilkerson, and I think I'm going to steal some ideas from her, and try to get that up onto the ceiling so that I can use that wall for storage. But the number one goal in 2015, the first thing that has to have happen is this has got to be gotten under control. It's an old workbench. It's served its purpose, which was somewhat limited. The shelving wasn't designed very well, and as you can see, both of the drill press and the mortising drill, I had to cut the shelving off in order to even be able to get them onto that workbench. So all of this is going to come out. I'm going to put it into some kind of a temporary storage, and then I'm going to build a more functional workbench. And then it's a possibility. I'm not really sure yet, but we got to do something with a lot of this storage that's going on in here. I've got some sheet goods here that really need to be over there. But I'm really thinking that also for 2015 that this work table has got to be pared down some. It's 4 feet wide by 8 feet long, and I've got a small shop, and frankly, I can't afford for that much real estate to be given up for a work table I don't need that big of a footprint for a work table. It's a beast. I mean, it's dimensional lumber, so it certainly has its setbacks for those reasons, but it does not budge. I mean, I can saw on it, I can plane on it. I can do just about anything on it, and the thing does not move. In fact, for me to move it, the jack that you saw under this bench right here, I actually have to jack it up and then put wheels underneath the legs in order for me to even have a hope to move it. And then it still takes some effort. So it's been a fantastic workbench, but I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about a Rubo or something along that line, a great deal more shelving along that wall, and just try to get a little bit more organized for 2015 so that we can produce a few more YouTube videos. So anyway, that's the brief shop tour. Nothing overly robust, pretty modest, but a couple of air compressors. But this is where we need to spend our time in the next week or two, and I'll give you guys some status updates, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.